Perfect.
All right. This is Demented Collective. I'm David.
And I'm Gary.
That's Gary. And today we're talking about what? Sleepaway Camp, Main 83?
Yeah. November 18th of 1983.
Yeah. We'll be sipping apple juice throughout the night. What's the synopsis? Do you know?
So, it's a classic horror film slasher with whodunit elements, where, of course, standard trope, horny teenagers and counselors at a camp are slowly being picked off one by an unknown person or persons.
I like it. Fun fact, they actually use teenagers.
No, yeah. One of the few times they've actually ever used real teenagers in a film instead of people that are,
Yeah,
look like
I mean,
teenagers.
you throw back to, Friday the 13th, all those, they're all 20-somethings.
No. Isn't Kevin Bacon
The
on Friday
Burning.
the 13th?
He is. He's in the first one.
Yeah.
Takes it through the throat, I think.
Yeah.
He's lying in bed and it comes out. It's actually really good effect.
Miss those special effects.
Let me read you an official synopsis. After a horrible boating accident kills her family, shy, sullen Angela moves in with her eccentric Aunt Martha and protective cousin Ricky. One summer, Martha sends the kids to Camp Arawak. Soon after their arrival, bizarre, increasingly violent accidents claim the lives of various campers. Who is the twisted individual behind these murders? The disclosure of the murderer's identity is one of the most shocking climaxes in the history of American cinema.
I would say probably the second most, only to the twist ending of Sixth Sense.
Okay, yeah, I remember Sixth Sense. I remember the whole I remember seeing that in theaters. Of course, I'm going off on a tangent. And just everyone kind of thing in the theater.
Yeah, well, that movie was so good. First time I watched it, I knew the twist ending of the Sixth Sense thanks to pop culture.
I didn't. So
I mean, yeah. Well, nowadays, like it's referenced so much, but the movie was so good when I first saw it that I actually completely forgot the twist ending until it happened. I was like, "What?" Even though I already knew it.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
wow. See, I kind of wonder if that happened with this movie because it came out in '83. I was 2. So, my parents didn't let me see it.
Understandable.
So I wonder if that kind of happened with this too, especially it being '83 and this sort of thing not being an accepted thing at the time.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
So and just the weirdo Aunt Martha and all that, and just kind of doing what you wanted.
Yeah,
But we'll get into that.
Airy-headed.
Yeah, we'll get into that. It was directed by Robert Hiltzik. He filmed it at Camp Arawak, and this is the actual camp that he went to when he was a kid. And it was also written by him.
Oh yeah.
His mom died a couple months prior to production.
Ooh.
He used the money from that to make the movie. From her death, her life insurance, that sort of thing.
And this was the only film he ever did, wasn't it?
I believe so. No. Well, no. He directed the sequels.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure he directed the sequels at least.
Okay.
He's involved with the sequels.
Yeah. If anyone knows, feel free to comment.
Absolutely. And then it stars Felissa Rose, and she's been working ever since.
Oh yeah, and I believe she has said that Angela is one of her favorite characters to play as.
I believe it. Did she reprise the role?
She did in one of the later Sleepaway Camp films. I know she didn't in 2 or 3. Haven't seen 4. So
There was one that came out in 2014, something like that, and she's in it, but I don't think she plays Angela. But it's not an official.
Yeah. Oh, there was a parody film. Can't remember the name of it. It was something in Otis film where she reprises her role as Angela in that film, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to check that out.
Oh, I've got it on my list, but I can't remember the name of the film.
I got
for
you.
the life of me.
You got Judy, Karen Fields. She did a spin-off. You were telling me that you saw it. How was it?
It was production values and special effects and everything. I mean, considering this film was done decades after.
It was like 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was shoestring budget, definitely, you can tell. I mean, only about a 15, 16-minute runtime. And it was cheesy, it was... quality was terrible, it was all subpar, but I think that's honestly what made it such a good short film, because it still plays into the classic cheesy horror films of the 80s.
And she's playing the actual character Judy, right? It's
Yes.
called Judy. So
Oh, yeah. And in fact, the opening sequence shows a news clipping of Camp Arawak survivor undergoing a life-saving surgery to prevent her from dying.
Okay, now that you say that, we're going to get to it, but it doesn't actually show her die.
Exactly.
In Sleepaway Camp. Okay.
So it's
I actually have a question about that scene when we get there.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. And then you got Cousin Ricky.
Oh, yes.
Interestingly, Jonathan Tiersten is his name. He didn't do anything in the 90s.
Really?
His last thing was in 87. It was like a ABC, one of those kids ones. It was like a...
Oh, okay.
I can't remember what they're called. Like Safety at Home kind of thing.
Oh,
one of those
okay. Like
after school
Be
special.
Safe.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But he started acting again in 2008. And he was in The Perfect House with Felissa Rose.
Really?
They starred together in The Perfect House.
I'm going to have to remember that one because honestly, love having two actors that played together reprise their role, or not reprise their roles, but come together again later in different films.
Right. They did pretty good on screen together. So
yeah, the chemistry. I mean, that's.
And then he also did Plan 9. Have you ever seen that? It's a low budget, kind of indie film.
I don't think I have actually.
That was my other computer. Do you know? Do you know who? What's his name? James Rolfe is the angry video game nerd.
Sounds familiar, but to be honest, whenever I hear the name Rolfe, I immediately think of Ed, Edd and Eddy.
Oh, okay. He's in it. Mr. Lobo is in it. It was kind of one of their things, and they made it. It's a tribute to Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh, okay.
Good movie, not bad. I mean, for the budget and everything. But yeah, he did that with Felissa Rose in, when was it? 2008. No, I'm not sure if that's when that movie was. That's when he started acting again. And then you got Meg the Counselor, who's a stinking bee in this movie. For, I don't know why.
Yes, the total, just...
Like, let the kid just hang out.
Why? She is.
What do you care?
I mean, I guess you could say she's the antithesis to the caring counselor. What's her name again? The one that was really supportive.
I can't remember her name, but she had the curly hair, I think, right?
Yes.
Okay.
She was referred to as the complaints department.
That's right. Yeah.
So obviously, you got to have the counterpart. You have the sweet, caring counselor such as her and Ron, and then of course that one that is probably just in it for the paycheck and to get some nookie, which would be Meg. Yeah.
And that was played by Catherine Camhi. She's still acting, actually. She's been doing a ton of stuff. Mostly TV. A lot of just, a couple episodes here, there, that sort of thing. Big, decent shows that you've probably heard of. Castle. She does some soap operas and things like that.
Now that you mention it, yes.
Absolutely. And then Paul. Christopher Collette played Paul. And he's done a ton of voice work.
Oh, yeah. That name sounds super familiar. I'm pretty sure I have.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, yeah.
Pokemon. He was in the Sonic games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would.
The One Piece video games. We're talking like 2008 to 14. Shoot, he was doing Pokemon before then and Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay. But yeah, I think that'd be the PS2 to PS3 era.
The good old days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Classics.
That's right. Then we went over Mel. I think. Did we go over Mel? Mike Kellen?
We did in a test run.
We did in okay.
Blooper.
What do you know about him?
Mike Kellen, I know, again, plays Mel. This was unfortunately his final film role. But other than that, I mean, I cannot recall any films that I might have seen with him in it.
Okay. He was in The Jazz Singer with Neil Diamond, Sir Laurence Olivier. He did The Boston Strangler with Tony Curtis and Henry Fonda. Midnight Express, written by Oliver Stone. He was in an Oliver Stone movie. John Hurt, Bo Hopkins, Randy Quaid. The guy had some really good roles in big movies. And then
with talented actors.
He ended it with Sleepaway Camp.
I know, right? A film just synonymous with 80s cheesy slashers during the golden age of slashers. I mean, you got your standard tropes and the acting, and a lot of it was honestly just cheesy, but it worked for it, especially when you're
100%.
Oh yeah, especially when you're into those kinds of films where There are, old school, but great. Bad but good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't really that bad either.
But he didn't get to see it.
Yeah, which honestly is a shame.
Yeah, he died 3 months before it came out. Something like that. Lung cancer. Got him. Don't smoke, kids.
Yeah.
And then he had Desiree Gould, Aunt Martha. This is pretty much all she did. She did a couple things after, but this is it. This is her big thing.
I could kind of see why, because unfortunately her acting was probably some of the most...
It was very theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the...
Over the top.
No, that wouldn't do at all. No, not at all. And again, she's supposed to be a doctor, and if she was my doctor, I'd be like, oh, no. She's like, oh, no.
So I missed that in the movie. She's actually a doctor.
She is.
Okay.
Double checked before we started filming, and yes, she was a doctor. And
so that's how she got away with changing things on the kid and everything.
Yeah, but I mean, she didn't actually get the changes didn't occur until technically between the events of Sleepaway Camp and Sleepaway Camp 2.
What? Oh,
yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. We'll get to that.
I mean, again, probably should announce, spoiler alerts. But if you haven't seen this film or know of its twist ending, and you're a horror fan, what you doing, bro?
Yeah, absolutely. Stop this and go watch it.
Yeah, seriously.
And come back.
Fantastic film. I mean, love it. But yeah, if you don't like spoilers, watch it and then come back. And if you don't care for spoilers, then keep on watching. Who cares?
Yeah. And then you got Ben, the African-American, played by Robert Earl Jones. He did The Sting with Robert Redford, Paul Newman. Trading Places, Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, yes. I mean, so he's been in, again, just like Mike Kellen, he's been in big films with other highly talented actors. And honestly, again, he was a pretty solid actor in this film. The only one that didn't have, honestly, the best acting chops, in my opinion, was Aunt Martha.
Yeah, well, I mean, and some of the teenagers, you can tell they're teenagers. They're young in acting. But that's fine because the age.
It plays to the strengths of the film because, well, again, they're teenagers, and it makes them way more believable
that is true. That's very true, yeah.
Yeah. So...
That's pretty cool. He was also a Witness with Harrison Ford.
Oh!
But he passed away in 2006.
Oh.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he was old in this movie.
Oh, so yeah.
It's probably just old age.
Unfortunately.
So how does the movie start? Let's get into the movie.
So, movie starts, I mean, Dad is on a boat with his 2 kids, and they're goofing around, having fun, and then, of course, stinking teenagers out on the water on a speedboat, doing stupid teenager shit.
Not looking ahead. Why? You have like 10 minutes to look ahead. Oh, there's something over there. But what bugged me about this scene, let me throw this at you. Okay, so they cut to a shot. I'm gonna splice it in here. They're 10 feet from the shore. Did you notice that?
Now that you mention it, I mean, we're calling it, that's...
What do you, just swim to shore. What's the problem?
Why are you freaking... Okay, I get fight or flight.
How'd they turn out of the way?
Yeah, where it's like, dude, they literally could have... I mean, I get the kids were, not strong swimmers and wearing life vests and everything, but could the dad just quickly grab him and be like, hold your breath, and then gone under the boat and towards shore?
Yeah, that's true. Well, these kids in the boat coming at them, they would have ended up on shore. There's no way they're turning from that quick.
Yeah, I mean, the speedboat was going...
I'm just going to poke little holes in things I see if I see it.
I mean, well, that's, again, that's part of classic horror tropes. I mean, you got to pinpoint... That's what makes them classic horror tropes, is there's those little just brain fart moments. I mean, perfect example. Why... In 90% of horror movies, when the killer's in the first floor, does the person, instead of trying to find a way out on the first floor, they go up to the second story?
Because then the movie wouldn't continue.
Exactly. It's Hollywood, filmmaking stuff, but common sense would dictate. And again, even if you factor in fight or flight reflexes, fight or fright also works, I guess. That you would think. I mean... that they would have some common sense going on.
Oh, yeah. And something you just pointed out popped in my head. Oh, we need to watch this movie. Mm-hmm. I've seen it. Let's see if you've seen it. Behind the Mask, the story of Leslie...
The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
That's it. Yeah.
Which, again, if you haven't seen it, 10 out of 10 recommend because it's a perfect mockumentary.
Oh, yeah.
That actually uses those tropes to poke holes and at the same time
They explain.
yes, why horror slashers get away and do what they do.
Okay, we'll notch that down for a future thing.
So bummed they didn't do a sequel. They should do a sequel.
They should. See the problem. Okay. Well,
we'll have to get into that later.
I'll save it for that one. So what ends up happening, I guess the kid's family dies?
Yes, the dad dies. One of the children
One of the
dies.
siblings.
And only one of the siblings, which it doesn't allude to which one survives in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And so is forced to, or is due to circumstance, which they don't really explain, ends up going to live with airheaded Aunt Martha.
That's right. Okay. And then we cut to the aunt being just weird and spacey, very theatery sort of thing.
I tied a string around my finger so I wouldn't forget.
Yeah. Okay, she's weird, is what they're kind of going for.
I mean, it would work perfect on like a stage play, but this is the big screen.
Right. I wonder if she did Broadway and that sort of stuff.
That might make a little bit more sense.
And that's what she was doing for all that time.
So, might have to... If anyone knows, comment.
Then we cut to the kids showing up to camp and all that sort of thing.
Ricky and Angela come up with Ricky's best friend. Was it Paul? Who's Ricky?
Yes. I think so. No. Who's the one who's... Okay, this is a line that sticks in my head. It's... Hey Ricky, wait till you see Judy. Yeah. Oh man. It's like, what?
She's got some big,
Like she's like 15. What are you doing? But I guess he's 13, whatever.
Prepubescent or pubescent teenage hormones, which again is a big trope in horror films, especially those that take place in camp.
Yep.
Which is a classic for a reason.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you got it in. I'm talking like Friday the 13th, of course, Sleepaway Camp, and unfortunately, I'm drawing blanks on some other classic camp films.
Oh, you want camp? Because you said Friday the 13th.
Yeah, well, Friday the 13th does take place in a camp, Camp Crystal Lake.
I was thinking campy. Okay, yeah, well, okay.
Oh, The Burning.
The Burning. You got The Burning. Stuff's popping into my head. That's not at a camp. But it had, because it's horror, it has sex and all that sort of thing. You got Halloween. You got the Friday the
teenage hormones, yes.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, which of course comes to the whole, stereotypical trope of the final girl, which makes this film interesting.
Who is the final girl of this film?
I don't think there really was one. If there was one, you could say, spoiler, Ricky.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I went to the curly-haired opposite of Meg.
Oh, yes, that camp counselor, because she was the one alongside Ron that actually ran up and found the killer during the final scene.
Yes. It's bugging me that I don't have her name, the curly-haired girl. I'm just going to call her curly-haired girl.
Yeah, curly-haired girl.
So we get to meet Artie.
Yes, the first time you meet him, giving immediate pedo vibes, which honestly, with the fact that that they're actual teenagers, makes it so
much weirder.
Yeah.
So you don't really mind what happens to him?
Yeah, not at all.
He plays it really well, though.
Exactly, so that just means he's a good actor, or
it's his only movie.
Oh,
this is the only thing he was ever in. He's only in it for 10 minutes.
Oh, exactly. And
if that.
The other thing that makes us so uncomfortable is the fact that Ben just laughs it off like it's nothing.
He's getting his $50 raise.
Yeah.
$50 a week, man.
I'm talking about when Artie first says, like, we call them, what did he call them?
I have this written down because it's so freaking creepy. Baldies.
Yes, that's the word. We call them baldies where I come from. And Ben's just like, ha, ha, ha. Like, dude, not okay.
No, not okay.
Makes sense why he's working in a summer camp. And
this is as they're running in. He's like, where I come from, we call them baldies. What?
Yeah.
Dude.
Is there just like...
And he's saying it in front of people.
Yeah, and they're all just like shrugging it off or laughing it off like it's nothing. I mean, okay, people argue that the times were different. I'm pretty sure even during the 80s, that was not socially acceptable.
No, not cool.
Yeah. So that Yeah, I mean, that could probably go on a whole tangent just on that alone.
But I want to get to Artie
Yes.
and his death. Okay.
So, I mean, well, it does, fast forwarding a little bit, Angela's shy,
Well,
not really eating.
And he's getting creepy.
Yeah, and Ron trying to be the nice counselor that he is. I mean, Ron featuring the shortest shorts that were ever created on this planet. Anyhow.
It was the 80s, man. That's what you did.
Yeah, he had shorter shorts than women, and on top of that, his bulge is full on display. Like, he is low-key being a pervert.
Yeah.
But whatever. Moving on, sweet guy tries to get him, Angela to see if there's any other food in the kitchen. Goes, takes him to Artie, and then Ronnie has to go away for just a moment, and Artie takes Angela into the back room and starts undoing his pants.
Right. Luckily, Ricky shows up to kind of...
What are you doing?
Ricky's the man.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the way he goes off on people.
Yeah.
I'll freaking kill you, you
Yeah.
sucker. And stuff.
He's hot-headed. He is, but for all the right reasons.
Yeah, he's protecting his cousin.
Yeah, probably filling in that big brother role for Angela now that she is his sister, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and then
kudos.
with the death of Artie, okay, I timed this.
Okay.
Did you notice this? How he's like, yelling on the ground?
Yeah.
Like all his skin's bubbly and everything because he had she tips boiling water on him. Or she pulls the thing out from under
So
him.
it's alluded, all you see is hands grabbing a seat as Artie is standing over a big-ass pot of boiling water. Just yoink! And then Artie falls, boiling water falls.
33 seconds of him just lying there, screaming.
Bro.
33 seconds straight. And then 30 more seconds, when he's on the gurney and you hear him screaming and they're wheeling him out and everything.
Which, who knows how long it took for the EMS to arrive to even get... And
they had time to wrap him in gauze.
Yeah, but the detective even said they don't make a sedative strong enough for the amount of pain he's in.
Oh, yeah. He was, full body cover or something
Full
like that?
body, third degree...
He's toast.
Boil, yeah. I mean...
Did they even do that, though? Wrap you in gauze on the scene when you have that kind of burn? Or did they just rush you to the hospital?
That is a very good question. I don't know.
You can't just... I'm trying to remember my first aid.
80s?
You can't just wrap a burn with gauze without doing stuff to it.
You got it, but I mean, again, it was the 80s. I'm not familiar with 80s.
It was 83, man.
Old school. At that point, that was 4 decades ago. At this point, the filming of this.
I'm old.
Review.
Dang. Okay.
But, I mean, yes, they never say if Artie survives or not. So, I mean, I would chalk that one up to a maim, personally.
Okay.
Because, I mean, even when...
So they could have brought him back.
Yeah, they could have, but...
He's okay? Well, no, I think he's dead.
Even if he survived, he was probably put into a mental institution somewhere, because, again, it was the 80s.
Yeah, you did not want to go to a mental institution in the 80s.
Right.
So Artie is gone. We got rid of Artie. Ben takes over the head cook stuff. He gets his $50 raise.
Because Mel wants to, keep it on the slide that this happened. And not only does Ben get a $50 raise, he, to help keep the rest of the, crew a little hush-hush in the kitchen, offers them $15 each a week.
Yeah.
And, of course, they're all too happy to accept it.
So it kind of makes you wonder, did anybody actually like Artie? It's like they get over him really quick.
Well, yeah, probably not. I mean, given the fact that Artie was saying some really uncomfortable things, which, again, even at that time frame, was not acceptable.
Oh, no.
No.
No. Okay, I want to get past Artie.
Yeah, let's
Artie, he's a trash guy. Throw him away. Where do we go from here?
All right. So, moving on, I don't think the next attack occurs until the lake scene, which I think is actually after Angela speaks for the first time, which, fun fact, she doesn't speak until 31 minutes, 6 seconds into the film.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, which this film runs for a total of 128 minutes. So that's roughly a little more than a third of the film, and she finally says, goodbye.
Yeah.
Or was it good night? One of those two.
That is a really good question. I thought I had it written down, but apparently I don't.
So, moving.
Apparently Paul gets the hots for you, though.
Oh, yes.
Paul's getting the hots.
Is that is the friend's name, right?
Paul, yeah, Paul's the one.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know if that's the one who says the thing at the beginning about Judy.
She's got the really big chesticles.
But he's being nice, at least.
Oh, yeah.
And Ricky seems to like him, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
They're in the same cabin, Ricky and Paul.
Yes. And, of course, so Paul being Ricky's friend and clearly having romantic interests in Angela steps in because two D-bag campers come in and start mocking her for being a shy, awkward teenager.
Yeah, everyone's being a jerk to her.
Yeah. And it's like, but I know she went through a tragedy, but unfortunately it just proves that, and is kind of a good commentary on bullying, no matter what generation. Kids, teenagers, they're just harsh little D-bags.
Well, yeah, and like later when we get to Meg and Judy down by the water, like they don't understand her past trauma because her family was killed in the water.
Exactly, and clearly has never learned how to swim since because...
but it was 83.
Yeah, normal reaction. I mean, at that point, you would probably want to avoid water at all costs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, 83, nobody cared about trauma and that sort of thing.
Oh, no. I'm so glad mental health has...
We have come a long way.
Yes.
Fun
fact, actually, we are both in the mental health field, so...
Oh, yeah. We know a little bit about that. We work in it.
Exactly.
We work in it.
Yeah.
Let's point that out.
So...
Paul makes a move on Angela.
Oh, yeah.
Gives her a little kiss.
A little goodnight kiss on the lips.
Then he asks for a second.
And she is, of course, reluctant, but, you could tell she is repressed, which probably explains why she is eyeballing Judy so much, is because Judy is, again, the antithesis to Angela, who Angela is sexually repressed. Judy is, how do you politely say slut?
Yeah, that's true. Later, she's making out with that guy.
Yeah.
Well, she makes out with Paul.
Yeah, Paul.
Whoa, getting at it.
Right, moving on.
And then it cuts to the scene where, the kid Mozart.
Yes, with the old, timeless, I guess you could say, sit-up prank.
Yeah, you got that. You got the sit-up prank. You got the shaving cream on the hand prank.
Another classic.
Mozart played by Willie Cuskin. And not so fun fact, he was actually bullied on set. Like, for real.
So that
and it got
character.
So bad to the point that one of the guys who played a counselor had to step in and be like, look, stop, you need to knock it off bullying this guy.
Which counselor? The actor?
I think it said John?
John? Okay.
Maybe that might be his real name in real life. I'm not sure.
Okay.
John?
Because I know D'Angelo plays Ronnie. Who reprises his role?
Might have been Ron.
Okay.
It might have said Ron.
Which would be kind of cool because, I believe that's Paul D'Angelo, because he always does seem to try to be the, nice big brother counselor compared to the other one who is the Meg of the male counselors.
And, wait, did we go over Kenny?
Kenny? No, we did not. Who's Kenny?
He's the one who's drowned.
Oh, yes. Perfect. Kenny bullies Angela. That's when Paul steps in. And then him and a friend decide to partake of a certain substance. And then go with the rest of the guys trying to convince the girls to do a little moonlight swimming. Convinces one to go kayaking. And that's when he flips the boat. And our mysterious killer drowns him.
Fun fact, when they find his body and it shows his dead face and the snake is coming out of his mouth, that's his headshot on IMDb.
Really?
That's it.
Oh, I like that.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
He didn't really do anything after this.
Yeah, that seems to be the case for a lot of 80s horror actors. You either make it or break it.
Yeah, and I had a question about Mozart, though. Let's go back to Mozart.
Okay.
So after the shaving cream thing, he whips out a razor.
Knife. Yeah, it was
Is it a knife? I couldn't tell if it was a straight razor or a knife.
It was yes, I remember because it is used later on to off some of the other members. It was
Right, and I was thinking that too. Okay.
yeah,
So were they going for like a red herring kind of? Because he says, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, I think that's, again, more part of the classical, almost whodunit elements. I mean, besides the POV of the killer, and that is, I mean, you've got Mozart, who is the potential killer, or it could be hot-headed Ricky.
Right, because he's always saying, I'm going to kill you guys and come down here, let's fight, that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, which, I mean, again, could also make sense because stepping into that big brother role of Angela, I mean, for those that have siblings and are the eldest, what wouldn't you do for your siblings? I mean, murder is a little excessive.
Yeah, that's true.
But, again, so it could have been poor bullied Mozart, could have been Ricky, or shy Angela.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a couple red herrings, and then later they kind of dive more into the Ricky one with Mel.
Yes.
And what he's saying to him and everything.
Oh, yeah, Mel, because he's like, I saw evil in his eyes.
Yeah, well, and he pulls him aside, but that's further down.
Oh, yeah, we keep bouncing around.
Yeah, we really do. We need to work on that.
We can fix this in post-production.
Sure. I don't know about that. But Angela is not a swimmer.
No.
And Meg's a beater big time.
Oh, yes, yes.
Why aren't you swimming? Why aren't you doing anything? Who cares?
Yeah.
It's summer camp. Let her have fun. She's sitting there. She's not like she's doing her own thing. She's just sitting.
Yeah, shy, quiet, reserved. I mean, yeah, everyone's being real jerks to her. And at that point, I think where we really left off was Ken. He was drowned. And then moving forward, the events afterwards, I mean, Mel is obviously trying to cover this up even more because Ronnie was going to try and say that he remembers Ken being a really good swimmer, but of course Mel shuts him up and goes, he drowned!
Right, he was talking to the cop or something like that, and the cop's like, yeah, I sure hope he wasn't a good swimmer or something to that effect. Fun fact about the cop, he shaved his mustache, and he couldn't grow it back, so he's wearing a fake mustache towards the end of the movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
So so we got Kenny. We did Angela can't swim. We did the Mozart. We hit Mozart.
Yes.
And then so there's a line in this that comes up. Move aside Casablanca for top line movies of
yes.
top line of any movie.
A
real carpenter's dream, flat as a board and needs a screw. What?
Fantastic insult right along. Eat shit and die. Ricky, eat shit and live, Bill.
Fantastic stuff. No,
Yes.
there's some good one-liners.
Oh, yes. I mean, highly quotable film. Probably what adds to the enjoyment of it is just how quotable it is.
Absolutely. So Judy says that, and I can't even remember when she says it, but it's right before the guy dies on the toilet. He's like,
yes.
I gotta take a massive crap or something like that.
Yeah, and of course, this being the 80s, pre-cell phone era, what does he do? He grabs a magazine.
Sure.
And goes in there, and this is actually, this is death number 2 in the film, right after Ken.
Assuming Artie didn't die.
Yes, assuming Artie didn't die. Death number 2 in the film, where this is where the red herring comes in, because that's why I remember Mozart having a knife, because that is what the killer used to cut open the mesh to stick the beehives in on victim number 2.
Okay.
So, and that's when it starts going to, first you think it might be Ricky, and then with that knife,
it's a pretty cool.
Mozart.
It's a pretty cool effect. They show his arm and he's got a lot of bubblies and bee stings and that sort of thing, but then the face covered in bees. Not a fan of bees. That always creeps me out when there's that sort of thing.
I mean, I know some people are allergic to bees, but to that extent of...
I'm not allergic. I just don't like them.
Oh, me neither. I don't like most bugs. Their faces.
I know we need them. I just don't like them.
Doesn't mean we have to like them.
Yeah. After... And who was that? It was a male counselor? Was he a counselor or was he just a...
I think... No, it wasn't the counselor. It was one of the kids.
One of the jerk kids. Who threw the water balloon at her.
Yes. And that is...
She goes after the people who do her wrong.
Yeah. And that is also when it points out that it might be Ricky because, these kids are throwing water balloons at her, and Ricky, pulls her away and goes, "I'll kill you, get down here."
Yeah. He calls them cocksuckers. For some reason, that insult to me is super funny.
Or the lifeguard who kept using the term peckerheads.
Oh, yeah. And he falls in the water trying to throw the stuff out the kids left.
And then when Meg and Judy tries to get Angela to swim, looks at Meg and goes, "You're a real peckerhead, Meg."
Yeah. And we're almost to that point where she gets thrown in the water.
Oh,
because at this point, they're doing the capture the flag thing.
Oh, yes, where... So, leading up to that capture the flag game, and after the death of D-Bag, number 2, possibly number 3.
Her and Ricky are trying to conspire to get the flag.
Yeah, but before that, Angela and Paul are on the beach, and they are getting a little intimate, and that is when Angela starts having flashbacks to her dad being intimate with another man.
Yeah, what?
And they're just sitting there giggling, and then
I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so
like the two kids. So you got a boy and a girl, and they're standing at the door watching two men in bed, who are just kind of cuddling, making out, sort of thing.
Yeah,
and I didn't get it. Like, why did we flash to this?
Yeah.
What is this?
So that would make sense because from what my interpretation of it is because she's laying there having these flashbacks, hence the scene where it's literally just pitch black, door, two kids, two men caressing each other intimately, and these kids are giggling, and then it shows a scene where these two kids are sitting in bed and the boy is slowly just moving his finger towards
and I didn't get that either. What is the significance of... I mean, I get it, we're in 2024 now. So two men, whatever. But 83, it's a bigger deal.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't fly as well in 83.
No,
but with the kid sitting there pointing the finger, I don't get it.
I think he was slowly moving to be intimate with the girl, which I can't tell is if it's... maybe the children was Angela and her brother. After seeing that, they, of course, got curious. So they're just sitting in bed... And the boy was slowly moving his finger towards her chest area. So they were trying to reenact what they had seen. Monkey see, monkey do.
Okay.
That's my understanding of it, at least.
All right.
But, hey, that's the beautiful thing about art is it's open to interpretation.
That's true. I am not happy with that explanation, Gary. No. So I need someone to tell me exactly what that is about. Just explain away.
Yeah, but that just also kind of makes sense. So yes, if you have a different idea, feel free to comment. It's just the reason why I picked that interpretation is because all of a sudden she represses, or she just gets really defensive, yells no.
It's a flashback from when she sees Paul and Judy making out. It was right after they had just kind of a tiff or something like that. So Judy and Paul are making out. I thought she flashed.
No, it was
with that, or was it when she was making out with Paul?
So her and Paul were making out and being a little intimate, and she was opening up, and then of course, while Paul was getting a little handsy, trying to undo her shirt, that's right. When all of a sudden the look on her face, she's like, "No," and he's like, "I'm not doing anything," and then no means no.
Right.
But of course. Horny teenagers.
But then, and then see what...
Then she runs off. And
I don't get it.
She doesn't want to, she's distancing herself from Paul.
Well...
Paul decides, Judy makes her move on Paul and gets what she wants, and that's when that whole capture the flag scene.
Okay. So she's making out with Paul when she flashes to the two men.
No, yes, Angela's making out with Paul when she flashes to the dad, and I think the guy that was standing on the shore.
She flashed to two men because... she was born a boy?
I think, that's another interesting theory. If you want to jump ahead to the spoiler real quick. Spoiler, which, again, if you don't like spoilers, pause it and watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Or, if you do... if you do don't mind spoilers, then yeah, go ahead and keep watching. Where at this point, this is where one of the interesting theories comes along, and I actually kind of believe it, is the reason why Angela looks so much at Judy and why she has these flashbacks is because this is where she starts struggling with her identity, because Angela is a boy. It turns out she was actually her brother Peter.
Born a male.
Yep, and forced to live as a woman by her twisted Aunt Martha.
Okay, so that's where we left off on her flashing back to the two dudes and all that. All right, so then she sees Judy and Paul.
Yes.
So they're doing the capture the flag thing. Her and Ricky are trying to conspire, like, oh, we'll get the flag, but they run across Judy making out with Paul, and Paul seeing Angela standing there looking at him, like, oh, I'm sorry, and wait, come back, and because Angela runs off.
Yeah, understandable. Which she is, heartbroken.
So that means Paul just did her wrong.
Yes.
That's not a good sign for Paul. You don't do Angela wrong.
No.
Not in this movie.
Yeah, because again, this is where, the red herring comes in. Is it Ricky still? Because Ricky is, upset at his best friend for betraying his pseudo sister.
Right.
Or is Angela the killer?
Well, and we're about to get to a point where Mel is yelling at Ricky, blaming him. Like, Mel thinks it's Ricky.
Oh, yeah.
So Angela gets thrown in the water by Meg and Judy.
Yes.
They carry, and Ricky's trying to stop it, but Mel's grabbing his arm. I know it was you. You're the one who did this.
Yep.
Yeah, he's yelling at him, and Ricky's trying to get away.
Yeah,
to go help with Angela.
Yeah, and then of course camp counselor Ronnie steps in and stops Mel from, continuing to yell at Ricky, which, again, honestly, despite his short shorts, Ronnie, great guy, probably one of my favorite heroes of this film, just because you can tell he's in it because his heart's in the right place.
Sure. So they pull her out of the water and all that, and then...
And she is screaming that she can't swim as they're about to throw her in the water, by the way, so that just makes these two ladies bigger.
That would explain the life vest at the beginning.
Yep.
There we go. So then Counselor Meg hits on Mel.
Yeah, she has the night off.
I didn't remember that part, and when she did that, I was like, what? Okay, I mean, hey, do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, she's, I believe, a legally consenting adult. If she's into whatever the male version of a cougar is.
Is there a male version of a cougar?
I think that'd just be a sugar daddy.
Sugar daddy, that's what it is.
Yeah, so, I mean...
It's never a poor guy.
Yeah. No, because he clearly has money if he can afford to run this camp and then bribe the staff to keep things...
Is he the owner of the camp?
Yes.
Okay, so he's got something.
I do believe he is.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's why he's working so hard to keep all these instances hush-hush.
Okay, so we have Meg, who wants to go hook up with Mel.
Mm-hmm.
What does she go do before hooking up with him?
So she goes back to the cabin that the girls are all consolidated and staying in, because due to, at this point, one maiming potential or possible death, and 2 deaths at this point, because Ken and... Who else got off at this point?
So we got the drowning guy, Kenny. Artie, maybe.
Yeah.
Where he's up in the air still.
Yeah.
So we won't count him, I guess. The bees.
The bees, yes. This guy, whose name we cannot remember.
Right.
And...
I think that's it.
Yeah, so that's it. So at this point, they've consolidated the bunks because of the amount of accidents / deaths.
People despairing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Meg goes in, tries to cut ahead of the shower line so she could meet up with Mel. Mm-hmm. And the girls are like, no. And so she asks Judy if the water is on at the old cabin. Mm-hmm. And Judy says she believes so. So Meg goes over to the old cabin.
And what happens to Meg?
And then, as she's sitting there showering herself, by the way, if you haven't seen this movie before and you're hoping for some chesticles, no such luck. So she goes and she's showering and things are going good. And then she leans up against the back of the wall. And then that knife that Mozart has, stab!
All the way down.
Yep.
Okay. Another foible that I am going to pick here.
Mm-hmm.
The blood effect.
Yes.
Obviously corn syrup.
Yeah.
So
the special effects have come a long way since then, but on the same hand, a lot of those special effects have been replaced with CGI, which no hate on CGI, I just prefer.
I'll take this over CGI.
Oh yeah, practical
100%.
special effects are honestly hands down the best.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally. So okay, Meg just died, stabbed in the back. Her body's in the shower still.
Yep.
Paul ends up apologizing to Angela, and Angela seems to be up to something.
Mm-hmm.
She tells him to meet her at the waterfront.
Oh yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Turns around, meet me at the waterfront after the social.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she says it in a way that, okay, she's up to something. Something's happening here.
Creepy.
Mel is looking around for Meg.
Yes.
So he goes to the couch. Hey, where's Meg? Oh, I think she was gonna go take.
Go. Judy
shower,
tells her,
whatever.
showering at the old barracks cabin.
And then Mel ends up finding her body, but she ends up falling out of the shower.
Yeah. Oh, I had him and I let him go. I swear, Meg, I will get him. Forgive me, Meg, forgive me.
Wouldn't she be crumpled on the floor? How'd she fall through the sheet?
Yeah, because the way she fell, she was like pressed up against.
I saw that. Okay.
So yeah,
That's not how it would work.
No, I mean, just saying based off of. I mean, obviously, again, you gotta for the suspense and the writing and all that stuff. You gotta take certain liberties, but on the same
It's
hand,
a movie. I get it.
Well, that's I think a common thing with horror fans is one thing we like to do is pick those little things, and yeah, it can take.
Didn't do it right.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of the terror out of the film, but we clearly watch these movies because we're all a little messed up inside.
Sure. Just a little.
Just a little.
Sure. So we're on. Okay, so Mel. Okay, so the body falls on Mel, and then we're at Judy.
Yeah.
And she's making out with that guy on her bed.
That's when Mel comes in looking for Judy.
That's right. Yeah, and the guy's in there hiding under the bed.
Mel comes in looking for Meg, and Judy says, "Yeah,
head that way."
Then,
so we're back to Judy now that Mel's found the body. Judy doesn't know all this, and the guy's getting ready to leave. Well, he does leave.
Yeah,
he leaves.
She calls him a chicken because
he doesn't want to get caught.
Doesn't want to stick around, and yeah.
Okay, so she's lying down.
Yeah.
And they keep focusing on the hair curler, right?
The hair curl. Yep, she's
straightening
her hair.
What was it? The hair curler? Because you hear her screaming.
Yeah.
And the shadow. So was it a hair curler or was it a knife?
It was a hair curler, and that's where the interesting part where we'll add on this little bit is. The outline. So the cabin door opens. Lights are off. You see the outline of the killer. And the killer comes in, shuts the door. Judy's talking her smack. And then killer comes up to Judy and bam!
Totally sucker punches her.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's you. Dink.
Yeah. And that's what Judy falls on the bed, just...
Yeah.
And the killer takes Judy's pillow, smothers her face, takes the hair curler... And it is implied it's hot and put in a not so nice place. Mm-hmm. And Judy screams and passes out from the pain. Some say she dies, but
Judy did not die.
Yes.
According to Judy.
Yeah, there is a short film following this called Judy, where
I think we touched on it earlier.
Yeah.
At the beginning.
Karen Fields reprises.
About 15 minutes long. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, and. Not bad. So again, when you're done watching, if you want a fun little cheesy film to watch, just search Judy, Jeff Hayes short film, or any combination of those.
Yeah, okay, so Judy's out of the movie now.
Yeah.
According to the short, she lives.
Yeah, so maimed.
And then Mel just goes off on Ricky.
Oh, yeah. Pummels him.
Finds him. Beating the kid. Like, dude.
Oh, yeah. In the
this kid's like 13, 14.
And in the original script, it actually calls for Ricky's death. But the director, Mr. Hiltzik?
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. Hiltzik decided he didn't like that and rewrote it. Good.
I like it this way.
Same, honestly, because Ricky is just kind of a innocent bystander, and again,
he's the protective older brother, but he's a cousin,
and that's what I think kind of also solidifies his role as the final boy rather than the final girl. Is, you know, heart's in the right place. Unfortunately, it's for the wrong person.
But then you got Angela, who comes to save the day for Ricky. Ricky doesn't know it, but
oh yeah, because that's when in between that time frame of Mel pummeling Ricky, and
I missed something here.
Oh yes, this is where the body count jumps up from 3, which of course is not including the maiming of Judy, as she is officially or technically not dead.
Right.
The one camp counselor has the 2 children complain about being cold.
Right, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. So at this point, he leaves. That camp counselor leaves, comes back to 4 children hacked to death, jumping the body count from 3 to 4 or 7.
That's right. Oh, I totally forgot about that part. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's freaking out because he runs. Yeah.
He's like, no, like, total remorse. And
so we're up to 7. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, yes, they occurred off screen, but they are officially dead. So the body count for the serial killer at this point is officially 7.
Okay. Okay,
Confirmed.
We're climbing. There's more to go.
Oh, yeah.
Mel,
that's when he's running.
And he sees who it is.
Yeah.
And he says, it can't be you.
It can't be you.
Yeah.
And then killer takes a bow and arrow and right through the throat.
Right through the throat.
Oh, yeah. And again, love the practical
special
effects for that because it looks so good. I mean,
it's not Kevin Bacon in Friday the 13th, but it's close.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm good with it.
Exactly.
It looks good.
The special effects, even to this day, I would say they hold pretty decent, water.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. And then... Okay, so it can't be you. Angela meets Paul.
Angela runs into Paul, yep.
And he says, let's go swimming. Take off your clothes.
If I was Paul... let's go swimming.
Let's do this.
Yeah, and she's like, but we don't have our swimsuits.
And what I mean is...
Take off your clothes.
When I was a teenager...
Oh, yeah.
I would have totally been... Okay.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. We've all been there where our hormones are replacing the...
I remember 14.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not proud.
None of us are proud of the things we did at that age when the hormones take over everything.
So it was written because he was all for it. Okay, cool. Let's do this.
Woo! He's excited because, he gets the chance to do what all, especially boys that age.
And I like the okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, probably would have had the exact same reaction at that age.
Yeah. And then it cuts to Aunt Martha.
Yes.
Okay. And it's we're coming into the finale.
Yes.
It's explaining what's happened. You got the kid there with the bandages on their head.
Yes.
And Aunt Martha...
Oh, we already have a boy. It just wouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
I think a girl would be so much better, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And don't you, Angela? Yes, Angela. Such a beautiful name. It means angel, I think. It'd be perfect for you. Don't you agree, Peter?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a little funny, now that you think of it, because Peter is also slang for...
Winky.
Yep.
The wiener. Yep.
So, and... Angel definitely is not, because that's when the big reveal starts coming into play. camp counselors, including Ricky, I believe.
Well, we cut back to Paul's head
Yeah.
getting lopped. Right? It's lopped off, right?
I don't know if they ever showed that on screen. His head getting actually lopped off.
I'm pretty sure they did. I recall seeing something roll.
Oh.
I was doing something. Okay, so
Well,
to be fair, I was watching on my left screen, and I was on the right, kind of just taking notes and doing every typing. And I'm pretty sure I saw a head roll there. I should have rewound it.
Depending, I mean, there might be multiple versions, don't know, but I watched it on Tubi, I believe.
That's where I saw it.
Okay, so I think at that point, that's when the camp counselors come up. You hear Angela humming, buck naked, again, only her back, sitting there humming, and then they're like, Angela, Angela, and when Angela stands up and turns around, that's when the head rolls, I think, and it was revealed that...
Yeah. Can you do the face?
Honestly, that is probably why when I love the special effects the most is because when it pans out and it sees the one scene of nudity in this film that shows not chesticles but testicles. I mean, don't love the nudity necessarily, but I love the special effects of the mask on the body because the hissing sounds, to this day, still solidly creepy.
It holds up.
Oh, yeah. And that's the big reveal of, oh, my God, she's a boy. And then panning to her face, she's still making for... I wish I timed it.
For the rest of the movie, she's holding that.
Yeah, I wish I timed it because, seriously, solid... Well, Angela's face on the screen just thought... And then, but Pam, the special effects mask and everything, where, what were you saying about the person that did the body double?
Yeah, so obviously Felissa Rose was 13 when they made this movie.
So can't show any... Right,
and they had originally planned to have a prosthetic wiener on her, and her mom was like, you're not doing that. So what the director did was hire a college student nearby who got drunk because he had to do this with his winky out. And he's a student from the area. He made they made him a plaster mold of her face to wear. And
it's so creepy.
No one even knows his name. He was an anonymous student. I guess the director would know his name, but anyway.
He might have wanted it to be that way if he had to get a little toasted to film that scene.
And that's why there's like chest hair that you see and stuff. And did you notice that?
I thought it was like they just, because on the close-ups you see some blood, but I
thought it was chest hair.
Oh, I thought it was like they just decided to go a little heavy on the blood at that point to cover the...
I'll put a picture. Then we'll know. I'll pull it up. We'll know.
With the winky censored.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even a good side-by-side comparison is the Robot Chicken episode.
Oh, okay. But yeah, he had to do it drunk because he didn't have the courage to do it sober.
That's
and he was
fair.
next to a cold lake wearing nothing but a mask.
And
so
when, you are near cold things tend to...
Yeah.
So, understandable, but yeah.
And that's how it ends. It freezes on her. It's a frozen frame on her face, and then the credits start rolling.
Yeah, and it's like in a sepia negative or something like that, a color negative of that. And
now, see what I recall, the version I originally saw, I feel like they transposed or did some sort of CGI or something, maybe a special edition. I feel like they had her face freakier looking. For some reason, I'm seeing in a faraway shot when they show the full body of the person. I feel like they did something, maybe in a special edition, or when they released one of the survival kits or something like that. But this version seemed like it was the original on Tubi.
Yeah, and I mean that one was still freaky because the practical special effects made her face. I mean. The prosthetic look almost inhuman, especially with that snarling sound.
Well, it's fantastic.
Like
it is. That's why it's one of the best endings in horror history.
I mean, hands down. Personally, I would definitely give this movie a solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
I'm more of a.
I'm there with you.
Yeah, it's not. Is it the best slasher ever?
No.
Is it psychologically not 2 doesn't mess with you too much, but that twist ending and honestly the practical special effects and everything, it's...
If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Exactly.
It's fantastic. If you're into horror, if you're into slashers, this is one of the top 5 easy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, any horror or slasher fan needs to watch this at least once.
You can't call yourself a slasher fan if you haven't seen this.
Exactly. It's
that's where I see
classic.
It is. It absolutely is. I have some trivia. Notable trivia for you.
Okay.
Felissa Rose, we already went over that, doesn't speak. The original artwork for the Sleepaway Camp Survival Kit DVD box, which included the unauthorized sequels, was recalled after the American Red Cross complained about its trademarked Red Cross logo appearing on the cover. So if you have that original, it's what we were saying, it's going for $80 or something like that.
The lowest I found is $80 because, well, I mean, we do like to. You can't see it because obviously, but we do like to collect the physical copies of movies. Well, actually, good example right here.
I picked that up at a closing Blockbuster back in the 90s or something like that.
Wish I jumped on that more.
Yeah. And it's the first episode. We're kind of seeing how things flow, and more things might be popping up just from our collections and things like that.
Yeah. Don't judge us. We're getting into our stride.
We actually have the thrift store I was telling you about has a huge. They have a wall, 5 DVDs, $10. A lot of horror because people always end up going to Goodwill.
Yeah.
But we also live in a small town.
So small.
We're probably the only horror broadcast coming out of Wyoming.
That I'm aware of.
So,
I mean,
hey, that might actually be pretty cool.
All right. Hey, cool.
Felissa Rose was paid $5,000 for this movie.
Really?
That's it. She got $5,000.
Just flat under the table or something?
Flat $5,000. And I don't know if she got any royalties off of it or anything like that. It was probably on her mom or her, who dealt with the managers and agents and whatnot.
Underrated.
But it was a low budget. It made 30 times what it spent.
Oh.
So it was a huge hit.
Oh, yeah, which explains the, numerous sequels, because officially there is...
Officially? Because I know there's 1 or 2 that are unofficial.
The Judy short film being...
That's unofficial. Felissa Rose did another one that's unofficial.
Yeah.
And that was probably 10-ish years ago, something like that. So I know there's at least, 3 or 4? I mean, there's 3. And then the 4th it's mostly taken footage.
That was
from previous ones, and then they kind of splice in this girl in a bikini or something.
Yeah, I think that was. I think that might have been Survivor. It's because Sleepaway Camp, 2 Unhappy Campers, and 3 teenage.
We're gonna have to do Unhappy Campers.
Oh yes.
That's one of my. I had it. It was one of the. I had 3 movies. Living in a cabin in the mountains or something like that. It was weird.
Oh.
So I know that movie really well.
It's a little. It amps the cheesiness up a little bit more, kind of like.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
they were having fun there.
Oh, exactly. It's like the equivalent. Sleepaway Camp was the slasher equivalent of The Evil Dead, in a lot of ways.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
Because they after the first one they just started leaning into.
Yeah, let's have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a budget this time. Like the studio's giving us some money, so we can do it a little better. Let's have fun.
Exactly.
And part 3, that was the one where she cut her hair short. She's kind of playing the Misfit Kids. She goes with the Misfit Kids and start taking out the Misfit Kids and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's the same girl. It's Springsteen. I can't remember her first name. She plays Angela in part 2 and 3.
Yeah, and then after that, there was a lull for quite some time, and then they did Return to Sleepaway Camp, where I know Paul D'Angelo reprises his role as Ronnie, and then I believe...
Oh, is that the one with the really annoying bully kid?
Maybe And
Angela, Felissa Rose, comes back, and she plays a cop.
I think, yes.
They have her, and using the voice sound thing... you're underdog. Like she has the hole in her throat kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's one. And I think that was one. I haven't actually fully seen it. And then I think Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor, the 5th one chronologically, is one they had plans to do it, but then there was some issues or whatever, and they decided screw it and threw in.
Right, yeah. They had issues, so they had to splice in a ton of old footage. Like, here's what happened. And it's like an hour's worth of old footage. It's like a half hour of new footage.
Exactly.
It did not do well.
I understand why. Because at that point, I'm sorry, if it's going to come down to that, I mean, I understand if you want to get your product out there, but artistic integrity, not to be a jerk.
Right. Okay, back to a fun fact.
All right.
So Catherine Cammie, who played Meg,
Okay.
and Thomas E. Vandell, who played Mike, who was Kinney's friend, the kid who drowned. I guess he didn't have much screen time, but apparently they were dating during this film.
Really?
And because she thought Mike, I couldn't even tell you who he was in the movie, was going to be the next Robin Williams.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
because he was so funny, apparently, off screen.
Which is sad because, I mean, he did get the most screen time that I actually remember, and keep in mind, watched this film 2 days ago, was after him and Ken were partaking, and he just sat there laughing nonstop next to him, mostly.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, and of course, we all know Thomas E. Vandell. He, of course, went on to be the next Robin Williams, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Now,
I'm pretty sure I saw him in Patch Adams.
Yeah, I don't think anyone saw Patch Adams. Okay, so supposedly, I can't confirm this, but supposedly, this movie and the Friday the 13th movies, Part 3 especially, 82, something like that, inspired Weird Al Yankovic's Nature Trail to Hell.
Really?
It's a song by him. It came out on... I had this album growing up. Weird Al's album. I think it's on Weird Al in 3D.
Okay.
And it's about the slasher genre of going to camp and dying and stuff like that. It's actually really good.
I didn't even know that.
It's an awesome song. He's never done a video for it, and I really wish he would. Do a throwback video. I think that'd be great.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic. And I never pegged Weird Al for a slasher fan because he always seems so just maintained. Like...
Well, he's making fun of the slasher genre.
Which is so easy to do. That's why probably second favorite genre
and it was such a big
parodies.
In the early 80s.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is why the 80s was considered the golden age of slashers, starting with officially Michael Myers, which is actually, I think Halloween came out 79, didn't it? Just before, it wasn't the 80s.
It was in the late 70s, 78, 79, somewhere in there.
Yeah, but he kickstarted the golden age of the slashers, and then
late 70s. I can't recall if I said 80s or 70s.
If we do a Halloween review, we'll probably get more information on that.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to touch on Halloween. I mean, Halloween is the pinnacle.
Well, again, it started the golden age of the slashers, and then
was not the first slasher.
Nope.
Just want to point that out.
Yeah,
but it was the hit that brought in the 80s.
Exactly, because, I mean, even if you put in the fact that Black Christmas came out before Halloween, Black Christmas isn't even technically the first slasher.
I mean, okay, we're going to have to do a whole different thing on...
We might have to...
That's an episode right there.
Oh, yeah. If you guys wanted us to do a review or a timeline on slasher films and the evolution of it, because that's a...
Because you could technically...
subject.
I feel like you could technically go back to Psycho, but anyways, okay.
Yeah, we'll get into that another time,
right? But there's a line in Nature Trail to Hell. It's like it's an ending you have to see, or to see it to believe it, sort of thing. This has that. This movie has
exactly.
That.
It is again.
Evil Dead. I'm pounding the table too much.
We're getting a little too excited here. Sorry, guys. But no, I mean, it is. That ending is probably one of the...
It's the most memorable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of any slasher film, I would even argue.
Yep. So, what are we giving? 8 out of 10?
I give it 8 out of 10. What about you?
I'm there with you. 8 out of 10.
See? Okay.
Yeah, that's a top-notch movie right there.
Exactly.
If you haven't seen it, go see it.
If you've already seen it, dude, watch it again.
Yeah, I've seen it many times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it is...
It's you can go back to it.
Oh, yeah.
That's what makes a good slasher film. You can go back to it and still have fun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's hands down. I mean, there's so many films you just watch and you're done. But this one, I mean, it's just worth watching, again, like any number of times, because it's just fun.
It is. It's a really fun movie.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that wraps it up for this review of Sleepaway Camp from 1983. And we're going to have another one coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything you guys want to see?
Yeah.
Because we're going to wing it.
Yeah. Kind of like we did today.
We might do a good movie. We might do a bad... I'm really into bad movies.
Right?
Like bad movies.
Seriously, Charles Band's catalog. I mean, dude,
I love
that
Charles
guy.
Band.
Love his films.
David Dakota. Come on.
Uwe Boll.
Oh, Postal.
Postal.
We're at Postal. All right.
Hey, Uwe Boll, if you do see this, which probably won't.
I will be in your next movie.
Hey, ditto. I mean...
He's got to be like 80 now, right?
I don't know.
He's got to be pretty old. I feel like he was old when Postal came out.
Yeah, he probably was. But, hey, fantastic films, but you know what you're producing.
All right. That's it. We'll see you
Later,
next time.
guys.